So Uber advertising is just over a year old. And from a platform and a services standpoint, there are advertising opportunities within the Rider app on Uber Eats. We also have a out-of-home network with car tops in 7 cities. And then tablets in the cars have launched this year and are scaling pretty actively.
Well, it looks like a powerful platform. You know so much about people's destinations and what they're doing. What can you tell us about that as far as what marketers can do with your platform?
Yeah, sure. So a big part of the value proposition is us understanding consumer behavior and what are they doing when they are going somewhere or when they're getting something on the Uber Eats platform. And so it really maps down to a single ID. And so again, we understand if what the behaviors are for a consumer who may go to a retailer, and then what is their like broader profile in terms of what are their other behaviors and what trips are they taking when they're not going to that retailer? What cities are they in? What times of day are they traveling? What other retailers or venues and experiences are they having? And then similarly, that same consumer, when they're on Uber Eats, what are they ordering? What are some of their favorite items? What merchants do they frequent? And so with marketers, it's a really exciting and new opportunity to understand consumer behavior from this new lens of what are they doing when they're going somewhere and what are they getting when they're on the Uber Eats platform.
And looking at the purchase funnel at different stages of it, from awareness all the way down to sales transaction, I imagine you have multiple touch points along all the way there.
Yes, yeah, you do, and it's an interesting value proposition in terms of again what we bring to the market and how we work with advertisers and agencies. You know, to that point, there are different ways to drive awareness and use our platform for upper funnel metrics, and then certainly how can a marketer also drive a conversion, especially when they're in the Uber Eats platform. And so what we've actually been able to do is kind of look at that consumer behavior and understand what are they doing? How are our apps helping those consumers kind of have those experiences irrespective of advertising? And then actually, how do we work with brands to enable some of that? So one thing that we see, for example, is that the Rider app actually drives a lot of new eaters into Uber Eats, right? And so what we've done from an ad platform standpoint is actually launch something that we call cart offers. So within the Uber Rider app, you can, a CPG or a merchant can actually start out with what we call our journey ad, which is the ad that is in the Rider app, 100% share of voice to the brand. The brand owns that full consumer trip. And so they can actually introduce an experience that then helps get that consumer into Uber Eats, give them an offer such as a coupon to actually, support their purchase within Uber Eats. And, we've actually been able to do some really exciting things and innovate with brands in that space.
And when you look at sources of growth, what do you see as far as, are there certain industry segments or kinds of products or what's happening?
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot that we are doing with our platform from a growth standpoint on the ad side. I would look at it in terms of probably a couple of different lenses and factors. I think again, there's what's the consumer behavior, and then how do we work with brands to sort of enable or support that behavior. So again, that example of providing a consumer an offer from the journey ad and helping them make a purchase with that brand in Uber Eats is an area of growth and something that we've had in the market. There's also what we're doing from a format standpoint, or I should say even more so maybe from like a content standpoint. So we've introduced video across the platform. And so that runs both within Uber Eats in our post-checkout placement. We are now testing that within our journey ad. There's video within tablets. And so you start to think about, hey, what's relevant content from a brand to a consumer when they're at this moment of transit, when they're in destination to a venue or an entertainment outlet, whatever the case is. And then the last piece, I would say, kind of building on that, are what are we doing to help drive more distribution of that? And so I mentioned that we launched tablets. So tablets came to market earlier this year. It's now live in 7 cities. It's really integrated into our sort of data spine, if you will, right? So the ability for a marketer to reach a high value audience, whether using our Rider app with the journey ad on Uber Eats, now also extends to tablets.
And finally, Sean, looking ahead, is there anything that you're most excited about or that you'd like to see happen?
So I'd say what I'm excited for is continued growth with agencies and advertisers. I think also our ability, what I've been excited about since being at Uber is our ability to sort of work with the marketplace and agencies and brands in the way that they need to operate, right? So we are looking at, hey, how do we actually make our audience and some of our segments available to agencies to also layer on some of their data and their insights so they can actually go to their advertisers with a really holistic view of who's the consumer and what are they doing, inclusive of our platform. And that's all being done in a privacy centric manner. We actually announced a partnership with Omnicom earlier this summer, and that data collaboration is a big component of it. So excited to actually advance in initiatives like that. And then as well with our global growth. So we are, available in upwards of 30 plus countries, depending on the Rider app versus the what's available with Uber Eats. And so our ability to actually have more of our own team members in more markets, just helping brands scale globally is going to be really exciting.